Hello, this is Katie. Welcome back to my channel, or if it's your first time, welcome. I am doing for Watercolor Wednesday, number 7, a witch hat, and I have already sketched the hat. I will post below the Paper Bungalow, their original post that inspired me to paint this hat. So I will post that down below where I got my inspiration. I already sketched it off camera because I wasn't quite sure how that was going to go. And then this is also homemade watercolor paper that I got off of Etsy, which is why it looks like this, but I think it's very cool. And I pre-sketched, and then I just used my kneaded eraser, which can pick up. In this case, it probably doesn't totally matter. Maybe matters more. I don't know. On homemade watercolor paper. This is Denise's Earth Friendly palette from Da Vinci. She is in liquid color on YouTube and Instagram. And I'm using a little bit of that and a little bit of Winsor & Newton Cotman Ivory Black for the black. I'm just going to put it over my palette. I've pre-mixed a few colors out of the pan into my porcelain palette. I'm throwing water in there to mix it. I was saying I used my kneaded eraser because that is what's recommended versus just using a normal pencil eraser, because it can erase kind of some of the surface, the important surface off of watercolor paper. In this case, it's handmade, so it could be more important so I don't deteriorate the paper. But anyway, it's like a sticky gummy thing, and you pick up pencil lines with it. And yeah, so I left kind of enough so I could see what I'm doing. So that I could paint. I am doing wet on dry. I probably should have done, for the look I was going for on the original artwork that inspired me, wet on wet. So I should have used clean water to wet my surface first and then kind of dropped in the black. But I like how this turned out anyway. I might try it again with the wet on wet, but this was still pretty fun, and I do like how it turned out. So yeah, I really like this handmade watercolor paper on Etsy. I'll link to it down below where I got it, and also a link to this palette. I believe it's $99. It was just very intriguing to me. It's a vegan, earth-friendly palette, and I wanted to support her, so I did make that purchase. And I'm using a Grumbacher. I'm using 3 Grumbacher. I think that's how you say it. 3 different size brushes in this whole thing. Those are just the ones that I grabbed for. I have a bunch of different brands, especially now that I've picked up a few small detail sets from Amazon and things like that, because I needed some 0 size brushes and some 1s and things like that. I do keep putting my parts of my hand in parts I've already painted, so you can see it kind of picks up the paint. But one of my favorite things about watercolor is it comes right off of your skin with water, because it's watercolor. So it's very clean and easy to clean off of you. And then I just have to keep filling in the spots where I keep picking up paint with my hands, because I clearly can't keep my hands out of it. So the idea for this one, and you'll kind of see how it ends up, is that there's kind of light on the right side of the hat. So the left half of the hat, kind of as it's in the shadows, is meant to be darker. And this is probably where the wet on wet would have worked out better. Kind of look a little more flowy, where I could just kind of drop more ink in on the left side. But this is almost more like I'm painting in with like ink. But I do have a little bit more to learn, a lot more to learn, not gonna lie, about doing wet on wet. And this paper was pretty coarse compared to what I'm used to. I normally use like cold pressed, the medium tooth stuff. I don't use the rough end of paper or the too smooth end of watercolor paper, which is like hot press. I use cold press, which is relatively smooth. This was pretty thirsty paper, and so I do a few layers. This may be the darker half that I'm going for, because I've done a couple layers now. And so I just I fill in the tip of the hat totally, and then come down for the other half, just kind of give it some texture, I guess, is what I was going for. And I stuck my hand in it again, so I had to fix that. And then I'm just coming in with half of it going up to the same line as the top part there. And so that's kind of what it ends up looking like. It'll dry a little bit as well. This is a number 6, if you're paying attention to the numbers. And I'm just mixing a little bit more paint. One of my favorite things, I have 2 favorite things about watercolors. I mean, there are many favorite things, but one of them is having colors kind of already made that I really like. There are, if you saw my palette collection, you've seen all the palettes, and I explained there, I just love having, a teal already. I don't want to have to use red, yellow, and blue to make all my colors. It's intriguing to some people, and people who understand color and color theory understand all that stuff. I don't. I just like pretty colors, and I want them made for me. So a lot of my palettes are just colors that already exist for me and are mixed by someone who knows what they're doing. So there's that. But then I also like taking 2 of those colors, 2 of the special colors. And again, I have to fill in the spot. I keep putting my hand in. I take 2 of those colors and mix them, and then I get an even better color, and I like doing that a lot. I don't like mixing red and blue to get purple. I like mixing that red with that purple right next to it on this chart and getting a new color out of it, if that makes sense. I think that's one of my favorite things to do. Sometimes I'll just sit and mix colors or doodle and watercolor, whatever. But I will kind of swatch onto a palette or a pan, and then I'll mix 2 colors I think would look good together. And it makes an even cooler color. And it's temporary. It washes away. I wash it away. I'll never see that color again. I can see something pretty close to it, but the cool thing about it is the amount of color pigment that comes from each is literally always going to be different. It's like a snowflake. Every single one of them is different, and that's crazy to me. And I love mixing different amounts of each because it's going to be something different each time. So every color that you get is, sorry, I knocked something over on my nightstand. Each color that you get is going to be unique every single time you use it. And that's why I like washing away my palettes. I suppose if there were, also because I only use a tiny bit of paint on them, I'm only taking a little bit from the pan. But if there were a color or something I wanted to use again, or the next day or next time I paint, that would be different. I would keep it. Or if I wasn't finished with a project and I needed those colors, obviously I would keep them. But other than that, I wash away my palette and I enjoy making a new one next time. So there's that. I am in love with this Decadent Pies set. I haven't really used it yet. I saw somebody do a floral picture watercolor thing. I can't remember who it was, but it was on Instagram. I took a screenshot of it somewhere in my phone and I saved it, but she used only Decadent Pies, which I really like. And that's kind of what intrigued me about all of these Prima marketing sets was all of the art I would see done with just one of those little palettes. So it made me think, I could probably do this as well. This color I really like because I took a pink that I had in there that I thought would be a little too like bright pink. It was like magenta pink, a little too pink for this flower that I wanted to do on the hat. This flower kind of situation is also in the original. If you look at the original artwork down below, that inspired me. So I definitely took this flower situation as well. It was just a little too bright and magenta. And so I took that the peach pie color, peach cobbler, I think it said, and mixed that with it and came up with this really pretty kind of peachy pink. So it's stuff like that, or taking, these are just the two colors that I'm using straight out of Decadent Pies for this little brown branch. That thing that landed on my paper was like a chip off of my nail polish, so that was really strange. It was annoying. I have since redone my nails, so they look much better now. And they're actually peachy pink, just like that flower. And so you'll probably see, you probably already saw that if you watched Marker Monday, because I filmed this Watercolor Wednesday first before Marker Monday. And now my nails are coral. I haven't filmed Marker Monday yet, though. So it's the future, but Marker Monday is already there. But as I'm talking to you, I haven't filmed it yet. So that's spooky. Not really. Anyway, I don't remember what I was talking about. Anyway, I really love these paints. I love her palette. It's awesome. And also the Decadent Pies. But I'm also hoping to use all of the other ones that I have. I'm really excited for the Tropicals one. It's got a lot of bright colors in it. And I want to maybe focus, like, I'm sorry, I took this out of view. I'm hoping I bring it back up. I'm not sure what I was doing. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. So for this part, I am just going back into the same green because it has since dried, so it's going to dry a little bit lighter. So I'm just taking that same green and adding details to the leaves. And then I take the same peachy pink, but I do grab a little piece of the more magenta pink that was hanging out on the edge of the palette in the same well, and I add it back in. I might even take more from the palette, I'm not sure, or from the paint pans at the top of the screen, just to make it a little more pink before I try to, because it wasn't pink enough, it wasn't showing up. So I made it a little bit more pink mixed in with the peach, and then outlined the flower because it deserved more detail than that. So that is what I'm doing here, and that'll be the last part of this witchy hat. So thank you for watching, and I hope you are enjoying Marker Monday, Watercolor Wednesday, Freestyle Friday, and all the Halloween going on. And if you want to be notified, go ahead and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.